Okay, good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining on this particularly warm day. Hope everybody's sitting somewhere cool with a nice pina colada or something similar to start their day off well. Thanks for joining our webinar today. Today we're going to be talking how we engage, empower, and elevate, and how assisted reality can benefit and improve business processes in a wide range of organisations. So I'm really pleased to say that we're joined today on this webinar by Derek Sawyer, who's the country manager at RealWear. And you'll be pleased to hear that he's going to be delivering most of the content about how we're using this pretty amazing technology. So I'm just going to do a quick introduction, set the scene around why we're partnering with RealWear and some of the benefits we're seeing, and then I'll hand it over to Derek to drive forwards. There will be opportunities to ask questions as you go along, so please drop them into the chat. What we'll try and do is if there's questions that come in that we can add into the flow, we will do. If not, there's a section at the end for questions and answers when hopefully everyone can fire all those questions in. So without further ado, let's get started. I'll introduce myself first. I'm Barry Ward. I'm the product director and I head up the disruptive technologies team, Wavenet, which is a pretty grand team. But basically our remit and role within the business is to kind of fulfill our corporate vision and our values. And if we look at our values, we've got trust on there. You know, we've got easy to do business with. We want to be a market leader in cloud solutions, and we want to make businesses brilliant. And particularly when we were looking at vendors in this sector, we really found that being a market leader in these cloud solutions was where RealWear fitted into our product stack. And Derek's going to take us through how RealWear and how the changes to hybrid working and using it, how it can be used in frontline workers and changing workflows. It's a pretty amazing technology, and I think it's going to be pretty disruptive as we go along and the world changes moving forwards. As an organization, when we do our vendor selection, we go through a huge process. And as you can see at the bottom of the slide here, we've got some pretty big accreditations around with Cisco and Mitel and some of the big names out there. You'll see our ISO 9001 and 27001, Cyber Essentials. We've got all that there, but our partnerships are far and wide. And we've selected RealWear as our partner for assisted reality because they are definitely market leading in what we do. And that allows us to keep our Trustpilot score up. So for those of you that know Trustpilot and can see our score down at the bottom, we're really proud of this as an organization. Able to deliver these sort of Trustpilot ratings and scores, because it just shows that we're delivering great service. And to do that, we need great partners and ecosystem and products, and that's where RealWear come in today. So just talking a bit about Wavenet very quickly. So Wavenet as an organization, we're about a 60 million turnover in 2020. We're backed by a large private equity firm, Macquarie. So a big global bank. We've got about 250 really passionate employees around the country, a mix of sales and engineering, predominantly engineering, to deliver that great service there. We've got over 8,000 happy customers, and if we look at some of those customers there, I'm sure there'll be some names that you know. And we put different solutions into each of these customers. So we don't just focus on one area. If we look at somebody like the DVLA, for example, we're revolutionizing what they're doing with their contact center environment. Same with Afora. People like Aston Villa, we've changed their whole voice structure. B&M, again, we've taken all their stores and bringing them together, a centralized phone system. CVS, large vets group, lots of connectivity in there, voice, that sort of thing. And then we also have a wholesale channel as well. So we're not just talking to large direct customers, we do have wholesale partners as well. And if we look at our product stack, if we roll back for the last 12 months, our product stack has really grown and increased and adapted to where we've been with COVID. So, we do huge amounts of work in connectivity space. We're on our own network. So we provide connectivity, so Ethernet lease lines, but also we've seen a big shift to move to 4G, 5G connectivity, which is obviously really important as we move into kind of the RealWear space around there. We also do lots around voice and collaboration. And if we roll back again, sort of 18 months now, Teams has just exploded for us as a product. We have our own voice connectivity into Teams with our Teams Link product, but we found, and we're putting on if I say 4,000 to 5,000 users a month, I wouldn't be short of it. So we're really growing that team's collaboration, the way people are working, adding voice to it. And what we found with RealWear was this gives us a way of adding additional benefits, additional services to the hybrid working, using this assisted reality technology, and using Teams as kind of the central hub. Outside of that, there are other collaboration technologies like WebEx, like Zoom, that sort of thing, and RealWear fits into that. But we've seen a real growth area in the Teams environment. And then also, as I keep talking about this hybrid working piece, lots of people working from home, lots of people working remotely, first line workers needing connectivity coming back in to share information, to have access to real-time information and to push stuff forwards and backwards. And we found that's really changed over the last 12 months as well. So meeting room solutions and videos in meeting rooms and interactive wallboard has been huge, but we've seen this real demand for our areas like the assisted reality and augmented reality, and that's why we've got Derek here today to talk about all the good stuff that RealWear can bring. So I think that's it from me at the moment. That was a real whistle-stop tour about Wavenet and where we are. I'm conscious of time, so without further ado, I will hand over to Derek now, if you're there.
I am indeed, and thank you, Barry. I'll just quickly take over screen, and I will start to share my screen. Firstly, I'll just reiterate the introduction. I'm Derek Sawyer, and I'm the country manager for RealWear. I look after the UK and Ireland, but I also look after the Benelux territories. So we'll start and just run through what we're going to talk about today. Tiny little bit of positioning around RealWear, the problem that we address, some of the use cases, a little flash across some of the customers that we've been working for and the examples of how we do that. And then the slightly more exciting bit is to move into a live demo. I always want to make sure that the demo is a live demo. There's always an element of risk when you're doing that, but we'll get straight across to that. So firstly, a little bit about RealWear. We were only founded back in 2016 and we started shipping devices back in 2017. And we don't refer to ourselves as a smart glasses business. We refer to ourselves as a knowledge transfer platform. Essentially, what we wanted to do was to provide first and frontline workers with the tools that they needed to be more collaborative, to join the collaboration that was happening in the rest of the business, to be able to have access to the information that they critically needed whilst their hands were free. And to do that at an enhancement to safety rather than a compromise. And we were never for the consumer. We always were driving for those sectors and verticals that keep the world moving. Heavy industrial, power utilities, oil, gas and petrochemicals, and you'll see some of those use cases coming up. Now this starts to emerge as we've moved through last year. We could also add telemedicine and the healthcare sector to this as the innovation and emergence of that sector has started to come in. But it was always for the modern industrial worker, and the modern industrial worker effectively needs their hands free to do the job. They rely on information, support, knowledge, etc. And as the world changes, for instance, we talk to many traditional and industrial businesses, and they speak very eloquently about, I've been here, for 20 years, I've done this job for 30 odd years, etc. Now the world changes, and the world has changed, and sometimes that term of tenure is not so long. So we need the ability to drive and give them access to the right information very early to make sure that they are the expert. Because we found over the last year that sometimes the smartest person in the room was the only person in the room. And RealWear works, there's a myriad of use cases here, but I'll quickly touch on those, but you'll see them during the demonstration. Virtual assistants, visual assistants, we're able to, you see what I see. And we differ that from saying remote mentor because of the additional complexities of remote mentor when at sharing documentation, screen sharing, annotation, etc. Document Navigator, purely ensuring that the right information is there. Digital workflow, give you some examples during the demo of that. And then this year, we've seen the emergence of enterprise asset management and IoT data visualization. We know that they're the utopia and goal. And quite often with RealWear, this is a phased approach to developing and the use cases across that. But the first thing is, we come from it from the angle of there's no best device. Okay, it's about identifying the right device. And it's about looking at the environment that the device is going to go into, first of all. Is it ATEX? Is it forbidding, frigid, wet, loud areas? Does the end user have a requirement for PPE? Perhaps wearing prescription glasses as well. Are they mobile? And is safety a primary consideration? At that stage, it is understanding the job task and is the software available to support that job task. And after that, by the way, you can choose the right device. But there is no best device. It is about selecting the right device for the right job. So what is the HMT? Before I start, by the way, the HMT from RealWear just stands for head mounted tablet. That's what this is. It's a self-contained Android tablet that is 100% hands-free and voice controlled, capable of working up to 95 decibels of industrial noise. And at the end of the boom arm, there's a small screen. And that screen, with a very clever use of magnification and mirrors, presents itself as the equivalent of a 7-inch tablet at arm's length. You've got hot swappable battery. You've got a ruggedized device, 2-meter drop proof onto concrete, IP66 waterproof and dust proof. There's a camera there that moves independently than the boom arm, 16 megapixel, capable of delivering 1080p. But you won't find a SIM card in the device. It's a connected or tethered device. And finally, it can be worn with the right PPE. Again, protecting our first and frontline workers has always been critical. So we've made it adaptable, whether that's a bump cap, hard cap, etc. So where do we come at it? And Barry used the term of assisted reality, and we've heard all of the terms of virtual reality, augmented reality and mixed reality. But from a assisted reality term, and RealWear are often considered to be pioneers of assisted reality. This is about a wearable, non-immersive visualization of content. There's no 3D or image overlays there. And this is often easier for organizations to adopt. It's not immersive, it's hands-free, it improves the situational awareness and allows it to be so much easier to adopt for our end users. So we also designed a series of accessories and components that go with it. The device can be expanded in memory, 64 gig memory cards. In the ATEX version, should remember to make sure that we talk about two versions, the HMT and the HMT1Z1. That's an intrinsically safe. It shares all of the ruggedized nature of its sister, the HMT1, but it improves that in being ATEX capable for class 1, div 1, zone 1. And you'll see the importance when you see some of the customers that are using that. Adaptability to hard hats. The device can take a headphone clip into that, and obviously to release that from the confines of being able to work in and around the Wi-Fi, we've got modems. Now, to manage the device, we've also introduced Foresight Cloud. IT access, admin control, addressing profiles, etc. And it will give you a very easy way to move into that proof of concept and validation phase. But we can also support you alongside our partner Wavenet if there's enterprise mobile management tools that you want to use to manage the device there as well. So We've spoken a few times about some of the customers that we work with, whether you're in the automotive sector, and I'll mention a couple of the use cases in that sector, whether it's manufacturing, and you'll see the importance of some of the largest organizations in the world in the oil, gas and petrochemical sector. Of course, one of them that comes to mind here is when I talk about Volkswagen over in the UK. When Volkswagen first tested the RealWear device, and they chose 5 different locations, 5 of the dealerships in their commercial dealers, and they just implemented that as a first part of the test program. They saw an improvement of repair efficiency, not up to 93%, but a 93% improvement in repair efficiency. They were simply able to get their end users' vehicles back on the road significantly quicker, and also saving a significant part of their carbon footprint, which was one of the board's commitments as well. So I'll talk you through a couple of use cases here. Goodyear, again, I can talk to you about Goodyear, as we ran and delivered that from our Benelux territory. Taylor in the video talks about that as soon as there was an issue in one of their manufacturing plants, she started scheduling travel, hotels, flights, etc., to get out and troubleshoot and maintain. And then COVID came along and they couldn't operate like that. So approaching Microsoft, because they had been looking at HoloLens, and Microsoft suggested teaming up RealWear and Microsoft Teams. They were able to troubleshoot days faster because they didn't have to travel, and because they could oversee those maintenance and jobs that they were doing. But then Dallas Olson, the VP of Global Manufacturing, also goes on to say that the byproduct of not just being able to troubleshoot days faster, but when they realized that they didn't have to travel for every job, they were able to understand that they were able to save significant costs for not traveling. That's ROI in a day. ROI in a day. Over in the UK, Mace were very public about their ability to innovate in a sector that wasn't traditionally always associated with innovation. They've been able to use that for all sorts of reasons, but making sure that they didn't have to schedule 10 different organizations to sign off part of a site, for factory acceptance testing, to be able to look at issues, safety certification, etc., and be able to use RealWear and Microsoft Teams in that way. And finally, you've got Total, again, moving into some of the most foreboding areas in the world and being able to assist the people offshore using video calling and visual assistance. And again, that was an example of using Microsoft Teams. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through a demonstration. During the demonstration, we'll talk about image, video capture, a little bit of video payback and document navigation. I'll try to show you some remote mentor tools and introduce the concept of digital workflow there as well. So as I do that, I just need to flip across from one screen to another. And what you'll see on the screen is an application called RealWear Explorer. I'm also just reaching behind me to put the RealWear HMT on. So I think you can still see on the video that I've now got my HMT on a workband. And as I just simply wake the device up, you can see on the screen now exactly what I can see on the screen of my HMT. Remembering what I want this to be is a live demonstration. And as a live demonstration, I'm just going to shut down anything that's been running in the background. And I simply say that by saying recent applications, dismiss all. And that means that everything I show you from here on in will open up as you would if you opened up the device. I'm going to take you through the My Camera element of the device and then show you the My Files element of the device as that comes out of the box. But I didn't use those phrases accidentally. They're voice commands that I used in the middle of a sentence, because our device isn't listening like Alexa or Siri. It wants me to pause and give a finite command, and it wants me to say, my camera. So here, you can see my desk. I've tried to keep my desk nice and tidy, but you can see my desk. I'll pick up this pocket watch and let's have a look. Zoom level 2, zoom level 3, zoom level 4, zoom level 5, flash on, flash off, zoom level 1. And so you can see how easy it is for me to manipulate and do that. And seeing as it's a nice day, let me just adjust the camera up and have a look outside. Zoom level 5. And we can just have a look there. Take photo. Preview. Let's have a quick look at the picture that I've taken there. And if we are fascinated by chimney pots, let's take a closer look. Zoom level 3. And here I can go into detail and have a good look around, remembering that the purpose is to free my hands and to allow for the visualization of whatever it is that I need to do. Delete, confirm, navigate home. Navigate home. So the navigate home command always takes me back to the home screen, but you can see how easy that is for me to manipulate the camera, etc., and record videos, take pictures, etc., just with my voice. I can have gloves on, however I need to be. But this device is also, remembering that we called it a knowledge transfer platform, about ensuring that there's access to the right information. So when I say my files, here, as I gently move my head from left to right, I can browse between the folders and I can say my documents, navigate back, or I can use the number tagging system to say select item 2. Okay, and then we've got a series of documents here. Regulator. So just opening one of these documents, and imagine that this is a document I need to be able to glance down. I just glance down into the screen. And I need to be able to see certain content in here. There's a coil in the middle of this document, and I need to see how that's connected. But we can't see that at the moment. It's just not clear enough. It's just not the right size. Zoom level 2, zoom level 3, zoom level 4, zoom level 5, freeze window. So by freezing the window, I just lock out that so that I can see the image online in front of me. So it allows me now to do the job that I need to do, whether that's a maintenance task, etc., but making sure I get that right first time by having the right information in front of me. Navigate back. Navigate back. My media. And here we've got an example of rich media. Free your hands.
Our hands, since the dawn of time, they've been our tools.
Navigate back. Won't put you through the pain of watching the whole of the video, but it's just a visualization of whether that's training or even capturing content from the last time that job was done and being able to allow an expert to visualize that. Navigate back. Now, this is a head-mounted tablet, so both that video and that document were actually on the tablet. Here, my drives, OneDrive, I can look at online and pull information down. Photos, let's have a look here. Select item 2. Just an example here, by the way, of using the RealWear HMT alongside a FLIR camera, forward-looking infrared camera, for the purposes of preventative maintenance and identifying hotspots. But you can just see there was a small flash of a delay as it pulled it down from my OneDrive so that I could see and access the most relevant of recent information. Navigate home. So that's showing you some of those functionalities and features that come out of the box. I talked to you about both the ability to do visual assistance and talk to you about the ability to look at workflow and digitization of content. That's about, again, making sure that the job is done right first time. So why don't I show you that and actually allow you to see a job being done based on the HMT. My programs. Here, by the way, again, as I move my head from left to right, I can browse between some of the applications that are available to me. And I can say Workflow Plus as an example of one of the third-party applications that is available on our platform. There's over 200 applications being written for that. I mean, on LinkedIn, less than 24 hours ago, we also announced that IBM had placed their voice-controlled inspection application onto the device as well. So let me take you through a job, new job. Let's have a look. Let's go for daily labs. Start job.
Take sample 1, disinfect wiggle valve 2, take sample 3, disinfect wiggle valve.
So you can probably hear
before and after taking sample
that it's reading the job out to me. It's asking me to disinfect a Zwickle valve, but I have no idea what a Zwickle valve is. So view image 1, zoom level 3, and now I can have a proper look around and see exactly what I'm supposed to do. Navigate back. Next step.
degas the sample. Degas the sample 10 times by pouring between 2 jugs.
Next step.
Pour a test sample.
Pause job.
Pour sample into the sample graduated cylinder until completely filled and without BFO.
Navigate home. So it gives you an example of being able to take through. We've got additional examples of workflows that allow for pictures to be taken at certain stages, whether that might be an audit or an inspection you're doing. It might just be proof that that inspection or maintenance job or task has been done. This allows us to deliver the innovation, but also to make people effective and experts much sooner than would normally be the case. We've also got the ability to use Microsoft Teams, Zoom, Cisco's Expert on Demand, WebEx, HPE My Room, etc. So as I say, there's over 200 applications capable of being used on this HMT. And it's very easy to use. At any stage, by the way, if you're not quite sure about what the command is, you simply say, show help, and it will see an issue of all of the commands and it will show you the commands that are relevant to the screen that you're on. You can even go into a bit of light web browsing if the content that you want to put on that happens to be on the web. I'll show you. Hide help, my programs, web apps. I'll select our own website, RealWear. Okay, just once. And what you'll notice here, I just wanted to show you this, just to be able to show you one of the features. You'll see that as I glance around now, there is a mouse that has appeared onto the screen, and I'm able to say, mouse click, page down, and being able to browse around the right content as just by moving my head, mouse click. This is all about ensuring that we've got the right content with our hands free wherever we are. Navigate home. Mute microphone. So the purpose of me showing you that was just to try to give some comfort and some experience of how easy it is to use the HMT, how it can be adopted and how it has been adopted by some of the largest organizations in the world. That adoption often starts with visual assistance and moves through. Goodyear is the example that I gave you there are now talking about training people with the device, rather than taking them away from the job to create an artificial environment to train them to do the job that they're doing. They purely apply that, put the HMT on, and actually follow the person doing the job at the time. So really appreciate your time here, and I'm just going to hand back across to Barry.
Thanks, Derek, and I think it is always pretty amazing when you show those demonstrations, because every time I see you do one of these, it suddenly makes me go, right, okay, I can use this in this particular workflow or this particular workflow, and it sparks off so many ideas around it, especially as coming from our side at Wavenet, we can build the whole solution. So it's just building out, not just putting RealWear in there, it's looking at putting RealWear across the whole ecosystem, so including the connectivity in terms of getting the data back, in terms of getting data back from the site, in terms of making sure that we've got the right teams set up, making sure we've got the right applications like workflow and that sort of thing. I know you've stopped, Derek, but we've just had a quick question in saying, would you be able to show the integration with Microsoft Teams? Would be interested to see it in action. Is that possible, just to flick back to you for 1 second just to show that?
I believe it is, so bear with me just 1 second.
Nothing like putting you on the spot. It's on a live demo.
And this is what we want, a live demo. So so just pulling that back onto the screen, and hopefully Barry, if you could let me know that you can see the screen again.
I can see your screen. I can see the RealWear application firing up.
Okay, so just reactivating the microphone. Okay, from here, by the way, I would just say my programs, Teams. And by the way, this is a live demo, so Barry has asked me to log into my instance of Teams there. Okay, you can see that the calls that I make, you'll be able to see that we can just simply join certain calls, meetings, etc. as soon as at the drop of a hand, and communicate with anybody either in your organization or in your federation. I won't talk too much about that. Wavenet are the real experts from that perspective. But I would just simply say my meetings. And Barry, this is a real test, by the way, you see if I can join a live meeting in a certain way. Page down. Okay, page down. Page down. Okay, so you can start to see that there is one of the calls that is there that is highlighted. Okay, page up, page up, page down. Select item 2. Select item 2. Okay. So because this is a live event, by the way, it's forbidding me from joining it as a live event. Yeah. What I would normally be able to do is to join any other normal meeting, but it's forbidding me from doing that because it's a live event. So I could try to join a meeting that's there, but one of the risks is that somebody else would join the meeting as well.
Absolutely, that could cause all sorts of confusion. But hopefully that gives people a quick flavour of how easy it is to do Teams. And as Derek says, if we want to start to look at proof of concepts, if we want to understand more how we can integrate that, then contact us and we can actually show you that in more depth after the session, because obviously I am conscious of time as well. But hopefully you can see how easy that is to join Teams, which is pretty fantastic. So we've also got another quick question in at the moment. So let me just grab that now. So what are the connectivity options for the HMT? Do you need a separate license for Teams, and are there other options other than Teams?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll address them backwards, Barry. So my programs, and seeing as I'm still sharing, you can see here that there are that you've got Zoom there, you've got Cisco Expert on Demand, HPE, My Rooms, etc. There's only 20 odd applications on my demo device here, but there is up to 200 to choose from. So there are lots of options. navigate home. From a connectivity perspective, just reminding that this is a tethered or connected device. We do have a 4G dongle that can be activated as a sidecar. Just remembering that we can only be done for the HMT1, not for the ATEX version, because that would breach the ATEX conditions. So this is about connecting via Wi-Fi, tethering, etc. And again, as network specialists, Wavenet can really help out and tell you as to what the options and connectivity is there. And then the final part of that is Microsoft Teams. Just going into your username and password, okay, for your normal Teams account, from your enterprise license, and you're away using Microsoft Teams on the HMT.
Cool. And I've just had another one in about, does it work with Google Meet Chat and Drive?
Yeah, it's not optimized. There's no optimization. And Barry, let me quickly show you what a non-optimized. It's not on Google because I don't have it on the device, but I'll show you what a non-optimized application looks like to help with the answer to that question. My programs, Zoom. So Zoom is available on the HMT, but it isn't optimized for use on the HMT. So you can actually see a normal Zoom interface there. It's really easy because that's the way that Zoom works. It works out of the box. It just allows me to go in and say, select item 7. And it allows me to go into different things. And you can see the different input options I can have here. Cancel, cancel, navigate back, navigate home. So you can use different applications. There is a lot of applications that are starting to approach us this year. Some of the larger applications, that includes IBM that I just announced, SAP, Infor Asset Management, etc. So there's a real growth of applications starting to recognize that the use case is on the HMT.
Great. And then somebody else has just said here, can we have access to the video run throughs, case studies and screenshots? As I said previously, if anybody wants to have a live demonstration, we've got a team here at Wavenet that can actually help support that. And we'll get as much information as we can onto the website to share that with you. But yeah, what we do find is if you've got a specific application in mind or a specific requirement, give us a shout here at Wavenet. We'll set up some run throughs with you and get some more tailored content specifically for your industry. I mean, as head of disruptive, what amazes me is just how many vertical sectors this fits into, and it's tailoring how we use this device and fit it into your workflow. So it's always worth a conversation with our specialists in terms of how we can help on that. Even down to, we were just talking that about the 4G. We've got some great connectivity solutions that fit into with the RealWear, and the fact that we've got roaming SIMs, so we can use whichever network is best coverage. So solutions like that really start to bring this all together and start to design the whole workflow, and we look at all the customer requirements. So we will share information afterwards, but as I say, it's always better to try and get one of the proof of concept set up or a call with one of our specialists to run through those requirements. So, are there any more questions before we end? Oh, here we go. Well, there's one. How do you use the ATEX version away from Wi-Fi?
So, I mean, great question. And the fact is that you can't. It's a connected device. Yep. So you need. There are some ATEX hotspots, by the way, but they're not that easy to find. So there is an ATEX, you can create an ATEX hotspot, or you can tether that to an ATEX mobile phone. So you can allow the connectivity from that ATEX mobile phone. Don't forget, what's one of the beauties of the workflow, the digital workflows that I just showed you there, can be downloaded and then just walk into an ATEX zone. Carry out the tasks, the jobs, with the knowledge that the whole workflow is there in front of you. That as you step back out of the zone, it syncs back onto the Wi-Fi and simply pushes that job down into the back-end system. That might be IBM Maximo, it might be SAP or Asset Management, etc. But the integration and then just pushes the job back down. So there is a certain element that you can do offline, but of course you can't do a video call offline.
That's great. I think that's a great answer. And yeah, and as always, if there are these specific use cases, then just give us a call and we can obviously provide the best advice and support around that. So I'm conscious of time. It's 11:41. Everybody's ready for their lunch and getting ready and pretty hot. I'd just like to say thanks, once again to Derek for doing that demonstration. As I said earlier on, as a disruptive product, as a new product into the portfolio, the way it links into all these different scenarios, we're really excited about working with RealWear and being able to deliver this. We've got a dedicated sales team around this and support. If you want any more information, go to our website, which is on the screen. If you want to learn more and want to speak to somebody about it, give us a call on that number or drop us an email to sales@wavenetuk.com. And I'm sure hopefully everyone's going to go away now thinking of how RealWear can fit into their business and build some improvements. But once again, thank you all for joining today. We hope it was of use, and we look forward to speaking to you in the future. Thank you very much.